Hello, podcast listener. Spoiler alerts abound in this episode where we break down the new Naked Gun movie. If you haven't seen it yet, well, guess what? Just leave this, set it aside, and then watch it afterwards, because I know you're going without friends, so you can pretend you're having a conversation with them afterwards by listening to this review on JJ Meets World. And by the way, if you'd like to help support our podcast, visit jjmeetsworld.com, where you can donate to our Patreon, pick up some killer swag at our merch shop, or click the link to Apple Podcast and give us a 5-star review.
1, 2, 3, 4. J.J. Gordon, sort of like that Indiana Jones, in that he's always sniffing out his next adventure. Yes, he is! He's always interviewing guests so he can have them on his show and they can talk about pop culture, arts, and leisure. J.J. has his flag unfurled and he likes his french fries curled, and he's fun and then he twirls as he goes to meet the world. He will march into the rain even if his ankle sprained. Take a peek inside his brain. This podcast is called J.J. Meets World.
Tucker and I just got out of The Naked Gun 2025 because it shares the same title with the original Naked Gun. And let's get right. Tucker, what'd you think?
Oh, man. I am so happy. So first of all, when you and I sat down in the theater, I turned to you and I said, I'm not certain, but this might be my first movie of 2025. I'll have to go back. I feel like there must have been something else at some point that I went and saw, but I go watch so few movies in the theater that it's hard to remember. And there are movies out right now that I have been dying to see, but chose The Naked Gun over all of them because I needed a laugh.
I think you made the correct choice.
Yeah, and this was your second time seeing it. You saw it last night.
I saw it on Thursday at the recording Saturday. I mean, so it's been 36 hours since my last viewing.
When I told you I was going to go see it, you said, I want to see it with you.
Yeah.
So you needed to see it a second time.
I did.
I need to see it a second time now because there's so many things going on that you miss stuff.
This picture is thick. Right. So even if you go through, even if you were to watch it, I think 3 times, you're still going to find these Easter eggs and these other gags and jokes that you hadn't seen before. Now, for those of you saying like, okay, wait, The Naked Gun, you mean the Leslie Nielsen movies? Yeah. The Leslie Nielsen series, Naked Gun, which is based off of a spoof television series, Police Squad, which is from the same guys who did Airplane.
Yep, the Zucker brothers and
Phil Abrams.
They kind of refer to themselves as the Zaz.
Yeah,
Z-A-Z.
So it is they're a group of people. I've said many times, but if you've never picked up the book, Surely You Can't Be Serious, which is the oral history of Airplane and how these guys got to be who they are, I highly recommend it. I actually recommend it as an Audible purchase because it's all of them telling their own story and like all of these other celebrities, and then someone, essentially reading parts for Leslie Nielsen because he's long since passed. The Frank Drebin, the Naked Gun movies were my introduction to this sort of absurdist comedy.
Same.
As a kid.
Yep, same. These and Hot Shots. These and Hot Shots for me. I can't remember which one I saw first.
Probably
the same time.
I know I hadn't seen Airplane by the time I had seen Naked Gun and Naked Gun 2.5.
Yeah. And I think the first Naked Gun I saw was 33 1/3.
Really? That was the first one, huh?
Because that was at the time when my sister and I were little kids, and when Dad would bring us with him to school for the day or whatever, if he has to work on stuff in the summertime, he would rent a bunch of movies for us and put us in a room somewhere. And usually in the rotation was Hot Shots Part 2, Robin Hood Men in Tights, and Naked Gun 33 1/3.
Naked Gun 33 1/3 has got some very, I would say, inappropriate stuff to be watching inside of a school.
Yep.
For sure.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah.
But, the stuff that's most inappropriate doesn't really, it's not gratuitous, right? Like, it's sort of this, for example, I think it's in the first movie where the villain's name is Pap Smear.
Yes.
And
he comes back, though, in 33 1/3. Yeah.
I didn't know what that meant until I was much older.
Yep. In fact, so I watched recaps of all the movies before watching this one, and I did not remember that guy's name because as a kid when I saw it, I didn't file that away, and I hadn't watched these as an adult.
Right.
So realizing, oh my God, all of the things that were in there, all I can remember for the most part from 33 1/3 is the opening sequence where like the bank robbery and everything else is going on, and the Pope is there and all this other stuff. You know,
it's a parody of
is it Heat? No,
the Untouchables.
Untouchables.
Yeah, with and then like you've got O.J. Simpson who's gonna spike the baby, and what an interesting thing for that film series, because being associated with O.J. Simpson, and when you think of Naked Gun 33 1/3 comes out just before the OJ-ness of it all.
Yeah, so I think right now it's probably worth just giving a quick spoiler alert that if you haven't seen the movie yet, I would maybe, and you don't want it spoiled for you, I would maybe pause the podcast, go watch the movie, then come back and press play on the podcast. It's still downloaded to your phone. You can still listen to it, but I want to drop the first spoiler, the thing that surprised me.
Drop that spoiler.
In the trailers, they show the gag that is still in the movie where all of the officers who are the children of previous cast members or whatever are tearfully confessing or asking whatever, and then you see the O.J. Simpson photo and then his son. I thought he would be a character throughout the movie.
Yeah.
That's his moment.
Yep.
That's it. That's the whole thing with that character. And so that dude's like, yeah, I'm in the trailer. Oh, I can't wait to see you in the movie. You've seen me.
Yep, you saw my whole part.
That's my whole part.
Now, that being said, maybe we don't know. Maybe there is something there that hit the cutting room floor. The thing that I think makes this movie work in the same way that Leslie Nielsen made all of those parody films work is he takes it totally seriously, right? Even when he's delivering a line like, all right, Mr. Poopy Pants, he's taking it seriously. And that is, Liam Neeson brings that same type of energy to this. And this really has solidified to me that Liam Neeson is not only a great dramatic actor, but his comedic chops are on point. They are perfect.
World class. And I think it was Akiva Goldsmith, the director, had actually said in an interview, Neeson's the only person that can play this part in the world right now.
Oh,
he said he's the only guy, the only person in Hollywood, at least,
could play it straight,
who could do this.
Yeah,
because he brings with him the Liam Neeson gravitas, which then helps when he plays it straight. And you have to imagine that obviously the filmmakers, obviously Seth MacFarlane is a part of this. So Ted 2 and Liam Neeson is in Ted 2. And the whole reason to watch Ted 2 is for the Liam Neeson scene. So, and then,
Liam Neeson is the villain in A Million Ways to Die in the West, which they worked on together.
Yep. So they've worked on a lot of stuff together. But then also, I'm blanking on the name right now with Gervais.
With
the show
Stephen Merchant.
Yep.
In Extras. No, it's not. It's not
Extras.
Life's Too Short.
Life's Too Short. Thank you. And I have a feeling that scene is what catapulted Neeson into. He'd already done
comedy
humor stuff before, but I think that scene is what catapulted him into the stratosphere of comedy.
He also does a great job in the Lego Movie as the voice of Good Cop, Bad Cop.
Okay.
And he's got a huge role in the Lego Movie, and you kind of hear those little pieces of it come out in this. The premise of this film is that Liam Neeson plays Frank Drebin Jr., so he's the son of Leslie Nielsen's character. Now working for Police Squad. Police Squad still exists. It's an arm of the Los Angeles Police Department, and it specializes in God knows what. Like, in all honesty, when you really like get into the nitty gritty of it. But this movie does something that's interesting, which is it takes what the hard-nosed cop movie is and how it's evolved, right? So like in this, they talk about body cam footage. They talk about being, accountable for their actions and the new style of police work. And even the movie itself is a comment about like, well, wasn't life better back then? When, you could get away with saying certain things and a man could be a man. And it's fantastic. And before we go any further, we have got to say this. Pamela Anderson having an amazing year. I loved The Last Showgirl. In fact, I think she should have gotten an Academy Award nomination for it. And now appearing in what I am going to be bold enough to say is the best film of the summer, the funniest movie of the year.
Okay.
It will take a lot to beat this. And let's face it, we're in August.
Yeah, I was laughing so hard, I felt I was annoying other audience members, but I didn't care because I thought they should be embarrassed for not laughing as hard as I was, we were.
Do you want to know something I think is interesting about this movie? And I noticed it both times I went to it, which is there are certain jokes that land with certain people. And so it's consistent laughs throughout. So like, for example, we were seated next to a couple who I really did not care for. If I'm going to be honest. And she smelled horrible. I don't know what it was about what she was wearing perfume-wise, but boy, it was overpowering. But they were laughing at stuff that I would consider like sophomore-ish type humor, right? The stuff that, like, there's a scene where someone keeps their electric car plugged into the charger and what the aftermath of that. And they thought that was the funniest thing that they've ever seen.
Clearly hadn't seen the trailer.
Clearly hadn't seen the trailer. But to me, like, I'm like, that's not the thing I think is funny. What I think is funny is the inmates getting out, like that whole thing. So it's there. It runs this fine line of being for everyone and then certain individuals at certain times. I can't believe the number of jokes they fit into one movie. We have not seen this since something like a scary movie, and this does it so much better. This is so much more appealing to a wider audience.
There's a couple things, that I walked away to thinking about the form of it and things I'm sure they had to consider while editing it, but also editing the trailer. It's a big issue with comedies. When you do a trailer for a comedy, you have to decide what jokes you're going to burn.
Yep.
Right? You have to decide what are we going to let them know about ahead of time. And they did a phenomenal job of holding on to the best stuff and of going, yep, these jokes will work in the trailer, and then we can maybe slightly change them a little bit. So the Pam Anderson, please take a chair. No thanks, I've got plenty at home. That was not in the trailer. They truncate it. And so they were able to go, okay, we'll burn these parts of the joke, but we're going to keep this part of the joke for that moment that's inside there. And then because they're balancing out the types of gags that are in there, like the different types of gags could fall into different categories. Like classic slapstick throwbacks are her walking into the pole. I believe is it Lisa Marie Presley or no? Who played?
It's Priscilla.
Priscilla Presley. Thank you, Priscilla Presley, who got a quick cameo shot in the movie. She does stuff like that. There's a lot of like old simple callbacks of misunderstanding who's referring to. So he introduces himself. Lieutenant Frank Drebin. Me too. Those classic type moments. How did she pass? Great. Real strong arm. That kind of stuff. And then you've also got like filthy like toilet potty humor about how you basically want Pam Anderson, if you want to be the toilet that Pam Anderson sits on.
But they do it in such a way that I think it would go over the some of this would go over the heads of younger audience members. And even like some people, like, until you get to like a second or third viewing, you can't really appreciate enough of it. My favorite sequence, because it goes on for so much longer than you think it's going to go on for, is the weekend away scene. It's a montage sequence that is a la, I believe it's the first Naked Gun when they do the like fake music video montage. It is very similar to that, but it's Frank and Beth going to the mountains for the weekend. And they do a great job in setting up, what it is and how they're, these little like snippets of their weekend. And it takes a turn, and you go, okay, well, this is done. They've accomplished the goal they're going to do. And then they keep going, and they keep going, and they keep going.
Yeah.
So much so that if I were sitting at a test screening and they said, okay, tell us what you don't like about the movie, I would be the person to say, I don't like that the studio is telling you to cut this part out. I know they are, but please keep it in. Which is another reason why this movie gets made, I think, only because Seth MacFarlane gets behind it. And Seth MacFarlane has huge buying power when it comes to studios. Universal loves the stuff that he's putting together, and this movie is released by Paramount. I also think that this movie has a chance to do some pretty good business.
Oh, for sure.
And it would have been easy to dump this movie in streaming.
Yeah.
So easy. But I think experiencing it in a theater is so important.
They also do something really, really well, which is really difficult to do in a comedy like this, which is they're pretty damn good at pacing it out so that the moments where I was laughing so hard I thought I might pass out, I then had a nice little break for like a minute after, right? So it's not gag second. It's like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1, 2, 3, 4. And so you can never really pick up the beat. And that's another fun game for me because I've always loved, ever since I saw 33 and a third or whatever, the Zaz genre. Playing spot the gag, like trying to see it coming, is so fun. And when you can't see them coming, when they're just hitting you left and right, it is a ton of fun. Another small tidbit too, that's not really as important to the movie itself, but when they go to the WWFC, and it was fun it's been a long time since I followed the UFC world. But it was fun to be like, oh, I know these two fighters. They're best friends. And they're in different weight divisions. It's hilarious that they're fighting each other right now. And I bet they were geeking the fuck out when Liam Neeson was in the ring with them that day.
Did you catch some of the sponsors that were in the octagon? Like companies that would never sponsor something like a UFC-like fight. NPR was on there. I mean, even the touches that they chose for this were so brilliant and so good. Also, he has the chance of being in the top 2 highest grossing films in the United States this weekend, which would be, I think, is going to be Fantastic Four and The Naked Gun. But Paul Walter Hauser, who plays Ed Jr. in this, is an actor who I really love, and he's done great dramatic work.
Yep.
He the Richard Kimball, the story of the Atlanta Olympics bomber. He's phenomenal in that. He's I, Tonya. Have you ever seen I, Tonya? Oh my God, is he good in that movie? And it's both funny and dramatic. And he also is a huge, just like comedic star. He's in Fantastic Four.
Don't tell me.
Okay,
I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I knew I was going to jump in to stop you.
I think he's the best part of Fantastic
I'm going to
Four.
try to grab it tomorrow if I can.
Oh, look at you. 2 movies in one weekend.
I know, right? I know, but I'm in the mood.
Good for you.
Yeah.
Good for you. Stick through the credits. And like this is the thing that I'm going to love the most is reading through the credits. There are jokes in the credits. And it's not like they're like, hey, everyone, look at this funny thing right here. It rewards people for paying attention. And maybe, you know what? Maybe that says something about modern comedies is that we're not rewarding people for paying attention. Right. We're saying, listen, did you miss that joke? Don't worry. We'll put it so on the nose, so on the head of the nail that you can't miss it, and it dilutes it. And it does not give you that same feeling you got from watching some of these back in the day.
This does feel like a return to form for this genre as well. Because if you think of like the Not Another Teen movies and scary movies and stuff, I mean, it's the same genre, right? It's a parody. I don't know what you would really call it, obviously, but maybe Gonzo parody or something, where it's just one moment after the next. It's like a reason just to give you a bunch of jokes. Yeah. And there's not really a story to care about. It's just more about the setup for gag after gag after gag. And those movies are good. Like they have their own, Not Another Superhero movie is not great. There's a couple of them that just, they start to fall flat after a while. And then they haven't been around for a while. So this really feels like we're returning to this form with amazing actors and filmmakers who understand it completely.
And that, I think, is the key element here. Like, for example, Scary Movie 1, I thought was really funny. Scary Movie 2, I thought was abysmal. Scary Movie 3...
had moments.
They bring the Zucker brothers in, right? And then you can instantly...
You got Charlie Sheen, who's...
Right? Who understood the assignment.
Who's in the Hall of Fame with the Hot Shots movies and stuff.
And so I think that these guys, like you, I love the fact that you talked about they've established their own genre. Yep. They really, truly have established their own genre.
Yeah, before Airplane, what was the progenitor before Airplane? I really can't even think of it.
Do you know that so Airplane, half the dialogue in that movie is from another movie called 0 Hour.
Yeah. Okay.
Which is pretty much the same plot. And they caught it one night like on cable TV and they called and they're like, can we buy the rights to this? And they had to come up with like $3,500. But they bought the rights to a movie that already existed so they could just take that and then work their own stuff around it. Which is genius. Mm-hmm. It's genius. I can't say enough good things about this movie. And is it for everybody? It is not.
That's okay. That's okay.
But you know what? Everyone I saw it with the other night, and then you enjoyed it. And so there's male opinions, there's female opinions, there's people who don't like slapstick humor, there's people who like slapstick. So I think this movie's got a good showing. And at the time of this review, it's 90% on Rotten Tomatoes.
And it's short.
85 minutes.
That's
tight.
Love that. I
Yeah.
love that for us. That's another thing of them going, we understand this genre.
Right. We don't need it to be 2 hours. We don't need to overstay our welcome.
85 minutes has probably the maximum length you would want to even go, because like I was getting exhausted.
Yeah.
Right. And I just thought, I don't know if I can keep this up for much longer afterwards.
I will buy this on day one. If anything, just so that I can tell to the studio system, yes, people still want to see this movie. They still are into something that rewards me as an audience member. I do think seeing this in a theater, though, does make a difference versus when I'm going to watch it at home.
Yeah, I would have loved to have seen it with a full house, right? So that I could have been drowned in the laughter. But, oh my God.
Right?
I'm going to be laughing about this all weekend long.
It's a reasonably small cast.
Yeah.
Like when you really get into it, like there are not a lot of
Yeah.
speaking roles outside your principals.
It probably wasn't that expensive compared to other stuff.
I don't think it would be either.
You know, obviously it would be the cast. That would be the big spend, I would assume. But fuck.
Do you know what scene I was like looking for? I almost wanted to look over at you when it happened.
Hold on, let me think. I'm trying to. There's so many good ones.
There's so many good ones.
I don't know.
This is the one that has really sat with me, and I've thought about it more and more and more. Is the jazz club scene when she provides the distraction, and how into it he is, and how excited. Like at one point, like when she does like a tweet it out, his mouth goes, oh, and it's Danny Houston is a villain.
There we go.
Danny Houston, great villain. He's a great villain when he shows up in other things. He's in the movie Game Night for a hot second. And I love him in that.
I love it when you see someone understand the assignment like
right.
that. When he's like, oh, I know this.
Bingo.
The photo of him with pumpkin.
Yeah. And like, okay, so this movie is a love letter to old white men.
Yeah.
They literally made a movie that were like, old white men, you know what you've been clamoring for like the last 8 years? Well, here you go. Here's what it is.
He has a line about it. Surely turns out that old white guys really are the
smartest,
most
the
talented,
sexiest.
Also I was waiting for or like it's been a while since I've heard a good police shooting gag. And the one about they're trying to narrow down like who his brother was that he shot.
Yep.
And once
could be thousands, could be hundreds.
Once he gets from 50. Once there's 50 left, he says he was a white guy. He can narrow it straight down.
Tony Rollins, brother. How is old Tony? There's also something that Tucker and I couldn't put our finger on, but it's there, and maybe you'll notice it, maybe you won't. But they have an obsession with like 2004.
Oh my God, the references that
it kind of makes me question. Like, and again, I don't know this. This is 100% speculation, but was the original script for this movie written in 2004, and that guy, you know, essentially like they're like, this is the script we own. You can tear it away and do whatever you want. And they're like, actually, we're gonna keep some chunks of this as a gag with that only a few people would recognize.
That would be pretty great if that's the backstory.
Right?
The feeling I get is that they're putting in intentionally dated ones that they understand, but that they understand large swaths of the population aren't going to. That's one of the things that's so fun about Zaz movies is that, like, when the movie was done and you and I are sitting through the credits, that group that was next to us that you didn't like, they get up and the dad or whatever goes, well, that was pretty dumb. I love that he didn't get a lot of it.
Yeah.
It's something about the fact that we love it and they don't get it, like makes it better.
By the way, they have an unlimited popcorn tub. And so they went and they bullied some person into giving them 2 bags of popcorn to leave with. And they're like, well, you get unlimited. We already filled it one today. Yeah. And I was like, come on, guys.
Yeah.
Don't bully this poor kid at noon into giving you a bunch of popcorn. God. This is also a weird thing that we experienced in this movie, and I don't know if you noticed this, but at 2 times, people got up and left and didn't come back for a huge amount of time, like 15 minutes in some cases.
Yeah.
And I was like, in an 85-minute movie, you've now missed a fourth of the movie.
I think those are the people that went along with the group to go to it, but weren't that interested.
Like, okay, I'll go check my Facebook.
When you arrived at the theater, the first thing you asked me was, "Where's your giant Pepsi?"
Yeah.
And I said, I do not want to get up and go to the bathroom during this because I have already drank a full pot of coffee. I've been up since 5:30. and I pee a lot. And so I was like, I made sure to get as much peeing done as I could before this movie. And I still had to pee a little bit at the end of it.
The marketing for this movie has been genius. So the AI poster, right? Like that one got a lot of attention right away. They teamed up with The Onion, and I'd like to read these things from The Onion. I sent this to Tucker. These are fans react to The Naked Gun, and it's their man on the street style profile. So this review comes from Rick, associate sewer walker. I can't wait to misquote this movie at parties for years to come. Catherine, official cheese cuber. The chemistry between Liam Neeson and me, the viewer, is undeniable. Hillary, goat communicator. Sometimes I wake in the middle of the night in a cold sweat and remember how funny The Naked Gun was. Dean, phone peddler. I haven't laughed this hard since my wife Sarah tickled me real good. Mark, customer service zealot. I love this movie more than my wife, 2 of my kids, and 1 of my cats. Paul, chef in exile. I blew out all my surgery stitches laughing, and I can't wait to do it again. My favorite one is from Tom, a parking spot saver. I haven't laughed since my beautiful wife Elizabeth left. The Naked Gun changed all that. God.
So there's a character trope in the movie that I feel like I've seen it enough now that I can call it a character trope, but they do it brilliantly, which is it's always a small guest character who's some kind of master of ceremonies.
Yeah.
Who's worried that their wife is having an affair.
Yeah. Yep.
So, I don't even know who that guy was.
The line he delivers.
He seems like a cameo of some kind.
Bratwurst made for the king of. And like I was like, they wrote this line for Tucker Lucas.
they're just he's describing Liam Neeson's genitals to the audience because they're blurring it out for TV.
And they have such sophomoric frat humor. Like instead of a New Year's Eve ball, it's 2 balls, and so they keep saying balls. Like I'm gonna get inside the balls, and I'm like, I get what you're doing, and I love it. Thank you so much for this. I give the Naked Gun 2 thumbs up.
Yep.
I think that, they even poke fun a lot at like, it's me, Frank Drebin, but different. And like there's a bunch of lines where it's like, I want to be just like you, but my own and original. And it's just clever.
I love they never address why he has an accent.
Yep.
Why Frank Drebin's son has an accent. I love the, I woke up in my empty cop apartment and my dead cop wife.
Choked back some cop tears. I think they do just a really great job. And they do a good job kind of spoofing the era we're in right now, too, right? Mm-hmm. Which is also just out of this world fantastic. So The Naked Gun, at the time of this recording, playing in theaters nationwide. It's a fun movie. I suggest you go see it. I don't think you need to have seen the other Naked Guns to appreciate this in any way. You'll get a deeper appreciation for it. Maybe it makes you go back and watch those.
And here's the thing, is that's another thing about this genre that works really, really well. Because I saw Naked Gun 33 1/3 before I ever saw 1 and 2. I saw Hot Shots Part 2 before I ever saw Hot Shots. And I was a kid who didn't understand half the references that were even being dropped in the thing. And I loved it. I absolutely loved it. So yeah, they make reference, for a gag or 2 at the beginning. You've probably seen them all in the trailers, and then after that, it's just new stuff.
Hot Shots Part 2, I saw maybe a dozen times before I saw Terminator 2, so I didn't understand the whole ending with Saddam Hussein.
Yep.
Until I saw Terminator 2, and I'm like, oh, I get it.
Yep.
I get it. Right. Okay, so enjoy, listener, and if you don't just tweet to Liam. Oh. I want to throw this out there, too. Liam Neeson and Pamela Anderson becoming a real-life couple. I love that in so many ways. And I saw an interview where...
Is that confirmed?
They're not, like, shouting it from the rooftops, but they are, they're saying, like, we met on the set, and we really enjoy each other as people. And that's good, because I think, again, Pamela Anderson is fantastic. There's a great interview I watched from the press junket for this, where they are asking Liam Neeson what his favorite, or what he's most proud of in working. And they're like, well, Pamela, what do you think he's most proud of? And she's like, oh, I don't know, probably Schindler's List. That movie was, great. And she's like, what is it, Liam? What is it? And he's like, working with Pamela Anderson. And I'm like, and he says it not to like wink at the camera or something like that. He's sweet about it, right? And he's kind. And I just love that.
Liam Neeson's do an internet's boyfriend moment.
Yeah.
I think right now, like Keanu Reeves had.
Move over, Pedro Pascal. Like, it's Liam Neeson time, baby. That's going to wrap it up for today's show. If you enjoyed this episode and would like to help us continue to produce new episodes each week, visit jjmeetsworld.com, where you can donate to our Patreon, pick up some swag at the merch shop, or follow our link to Apple Podcasts and leave us a 5-star review. You can also follow us on social media. We're on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, all the sites the cool kids are using these days. JJ Meets World is produced every week by Tucker Lucas. You can find out more about Tucker's work by visiting moonbasemaria.com. If you want to get in touch with your host with the most, check out linebenders.com, where you can find direct contact info for JJ or booking information. Our next movie review will be about Jurassic Park and how much I hated that piece of garbage.